All right, so now let's begin our first story. Israel, of course, is weighing its next step following Iran's direct and unprecedented attack against the Jewish state over the weekend. Meanwhile, the Islamic Republic is warning that any retaliation on Israel's end is going to be met by an immediate, stronger, and more extensive response from Iran. So for all of us, we're wondering what might unfold in the next few days. Well, joining me now from Jerusalem to discuss this is Chris Mitchell, the Middle East Bureau Chief for CBN News. Chris, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for staying up and joining us.
It's great to be with you, Jody.
All right, listen, before we get started, Chris, and there's so much to cover, but before we jump into this, let's talk about what actually unfolded over the weekend. Can you share some of that with us?
Well, as we know, about 350 drones, ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles and rockets were fired here at Israel. Early Sunday morning, Saturday night, there were actually some rockets in drones or missiles right over here, not too far from where I'm standing. They were shot over the Temple Mount and part of Jerusalem. They were shot down. You could hear the explosions of the Iron Dome anti-missile system, as well as the air raid sirens. When people learned about this attack, it was several hours while many Israelis were exactly watching to see what would happen. Many people were staying up through the night to see the attack. When people woke up in the morning or lasted through that attack, it really was remarkable, impressive anti-missile defense, many layers, many countries to shoot down 99% of these 350 drones and missiles and rockets. Some people call it miraculous. Many people were praying that God would protect this land and his people, and it seemed like those prayers were answered. But right now, Jody, we're anticipating how Israel's going to respond. Yesterday, the War Cabinet met for 4 hours. They met again this afternoon. Apparently, they do have a plan in place, and it's going to be a painful retaliation, according to some reports. Also, the IDF Chief of Staff, Halevi, he made a statement down in the Netabim Air Base. That's down in the south. That's where many of the F-35s are. And he's promising a retaliation as well. Some people speculate that could include missiles as well from Israel into Iran. But as you say, Iran right now is promising a retaliation when Israel's going to attack. And so we see how this is going to escalate perhaps in the next few hours or next few days.
Well, I certainly am one, Chris, who would say it was absolutely miraculous what happened over the weekend. The fact that there were no deaths in spite of some 350 missiles and so forth coming into Israel is just absolutely remarkable. The protection of God through the weapon systems there. And you mentioned that there is going to be some retaliation from Israel to Iran, but you say it could be anywhere from the next couple of hours to the next couple of days. I'm sure Israeli leadership keeps this type of thing close to the chest, but you fully suspect it's going to be a pretty powerful retaliation.
I do, Jody. I think it'll be painful, as they say, and I think it'll be a retaliation to try to restore some deterrence. Many people here in Israel feel Iran just simply can't have this, despite the fact that 99% of these projectiles were cut down. Israel has to respond. It has to restore the deterrence. What Iran does after that remains to be seen, but Israel feels like it really has to. And I would say also, Jody, this was a historic moment. Israel and Iran had been in a shadow war for about 45 years. This is the first time Iran has directly attacked Israel from Iranian territory. And it's just really a game changer here in the Middle East. But also say there was remarkable cooperation between countries like Jordan. And it seems like Saudi Arabia was involved as well, providing intelligence, maybe some anti-missile defenses as well. And it's been reported that actually the daughter of King Abdullah in Jordan was shot down about 6 of these projectiles as well. So really unprecedented cooperation between many countries to bring this anti-missile defense surrounding the Jewish state.
Well, that's really encouraging to hear. What are you hearing from people on the ground? There was already unity that came about ever since the original attacks, but now this has, I would think, would have to increase the unity among Israelis of their resolve to defend their country and to support Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Yeah, in fact, the latest poll I saw that Netanyahu was actually leading in the polls. He had been behind Benny Gantz, another member of the war cabinet and a member of the opposition. But I'm sorry, there goes my light, but don't worry about it. I'll just keep talking. So it seems like I think there is unprecedented unity ever since October 7th. We've seen that. And now here with the Iranian attack, I think Israelis will gather together like never before. And hopefully they'll have the support, at least tactically, of from the United States. I would add, Jody, that they really don't necessarily appreciate the fact that the United States is trying to restrain them. They've been trying to restrain their military operation in Gaza for several months. And I think they meaning the Israelis here, want to make sure that they eliminate Hamas as a threat on its southern border and Hezbollah on its northern border, and if necessary, Iran on its far to the east.
I don't know if you were able to hear as we came onto this segment, but yesterday, Senator Marco Rubio on CNN's State of the Union, he noted how Iran knows that it cannot beat Israel militarily, but he noted that one of the possible goals that they have is to try to make Israel an impossible place to live and a place where no one wants to visit. Israel's defense minister, Yoav Gallant, has similarly noted that Hamas wants to deter the Jewish people from living the way they do in the democracy and so forth. What can you tell us about the effects of the war so far on Israel?
Well, some people call that strategy, Jody, death by 1,000 cuts. You have Hamas in the south, Hezbollah to the north, the Houthis down in Yemen, and you have Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and Syria. So they do want to continue to drain the resources, the morale of the Israeli people, the resources of the state of Israel, and try to, just make this place unlivable. If you look and if you live here in Israel, they haven't succeeded at all. This is an amazing place to be. It's a startup nation. It's actually thriving in many ways. But now, since the attack on October 7th and the attack on April 13th, just 2 days ago, it really does ratchet up this threat by not only Iran's proxies, but Iran itself. But I think that's been the strategy to make this place unlivable, as Senator Rubio said. But I don't think that's succeeding. And I think the resolve of the Jewish people here in Israel and the Israelis is remarkable. They're not going anywhere. And I think to add to that, Jody, this is a place where I believe God has planted the Jewish people. And as Psalm 120 says, that he that watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. And he's watching over the Jewish people today.
Chris Mitchell, Middle East Bureau Chief for CBN News, cannot thank you enough. Your physical light may have gone out, but your spiritual light certainly has not. Keep it ablaze, my friend.